Oh, they sold it. Wait, this. I want this. That, Steve. I'm also going to put that in our budget.
Cool.
That one's gorgeous. I'm always tempted. That would actually put us up to what the price is.
Mm-hmm. We are live.
Hi. I'm looking at fish porn. It's not actually fish porn. But, oh, let me go bring up YouTube. The YouTube. YouTube.com/user/Steve Argyle the word .com. Right, Steve?
That's the one.
And it's not the .com, it's the word spelled out. That is where you go to chat with us. We are streaming to Facebook and to Twitch, but we kept finding that Twitch kept having timeout problems, and Facebook isn't a very good chat platform, so it's not a chat platform at all, in fact. And so if you guys want to be part of the chat, feel free to come to YouTube. Like I said, it's youtube.com/user/Steve Argyle, the word spelled out, com, and just push enter, and it should have our newest episode that's streaming right now right there. Feel free to continue to lurk either at Facebook or Twitch. That's totally cool. But if you want to be part of the conversation, all right. Steve, what have you been up to?
Everything. So much stuff. So busy all the time. So this weekend our friend was in town. Drew, who we mentioned on the show quite a bit. He's the one who inspires us to make life better with art. So we got to hang out with him a bit. We did a plein air painting session with Howard Lyon on Saturday, which is a big step for me because I hate being outside.
Yeah, it was
That's
interesting.
where the sun is.
And Steve didn't actually really that much enjoy the
Nature.
plain airness of it. His painting turned out beautiful. Isn't it over here?
Uh-huh.
Mine turned out poop.
I don't know if it's dry yet, because I painted a lot with a palette knife, so it's super thick
I want
paint.
to try doing that sometime. Like, maybe tomorrow. I want to try doing a big, so this is
You can't
Steve's.
see it.
You can't? You can see it really good.
I painted that on Saturday.
So, that's what Steve painted. Though he said, like, so they do it in sessions. It was like a 4-hour session, and every 20 minutes they give the model a break. So the very first 20-minute session, Steve looked at the model and got the basics, and then he said he just did the rest. Like, he didn't do anything else for the model because it kept changing.
The light keeps changing. We were doing dappled light, so sunlight through the trees, and that's cool. But it was definitely challenging, and I will admit a little bit frustrating. Where you'll look at something and be like, "That's awesome," and you'll start to paint it. You look back up and it's not there anymore. It's just gone.
Oh, and there was one time for 10 minutes that it had this perfect lighting, and I wish I would have taken a picture with the camera so that I got it, because I was mixing all the colors on my palette, and then when I looked up again, it was gone.
Yeah.
And I guess they kept talking during the session about, like, a quote of "don't chase the light."
But the light is always...
But
I wouldn't chase it if it didn't run. Always running. And we're going to, well, I am going to Brazil next weekend. Whether Cat's coming is still a little bit up in the air. But I went and I got my, you can't see them. I got my shots. So I get to be mildly sick with yellow fever vaccine for a few days. That should be fun. And I have a deadline on Friday, so I'm cranking towards that. There's a lot going on. That's where I'll leave that. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, and we are looking for volunteers to help in Brazil, right, Steve? Or am I speaking out of turn?
We are potentially looking for volunteers.
We're looking for maybe volunteers to help in Brazil. How should they contact you if they want to help?
Through the contact page on my website.
All right, so if you're interested in helping, please contact us through the contact page on Steve's website, steveargyle.com, if you're interested in helping in Brazil. So that's because I might not be coming. Tickets to Brazil are stupid expensive.
Yes.
I've been watching, and I missed when they were $1,900, which is still stupid expensive for international. I missed it, and now they're up at like $2,700, and I don't think they'll come down. If they do, I have the time off already and everything like that, and I'll go. And I'm still going to go get the yellow fever vaccine on Friday.
Cat's rationale is, we don't go, if she doesn't come this time, she'll come next time.
Oh, Sparta's on, and Scott Francis, and Dan, and Keeson, and Steve, and Anyo, and there's lots of people on, Steve.
Welcome, everyone. Good to see you again.
Brian Blevin says, your art skills make me angry. Here, Brian, I'll make you feel better. I will show you. I didn't even post it on my Facebook. It was that ugly. It's mostly her face. Her face is so 2D. It's her eyes. I should just like blacken out her eye, like do the shadow eye form thingy. Because the rest of it looks meh, but the eyes just make it look like flat as flat can be. That's what mine turned out like. Actually, it might look okay at this level of quality. That's what mine turned out like. It was terrible.
Was not.
It's a POS. I really was not happy with it. I didn't even post it on Facebook. So, anyway, Business Wolf's on. Business and Sparta are on. They haven't been on forever.
Good to see you guys.
Poison, of course. Brian Blevins. Evan George. Chappy Toes. So, Sparta says, and he's not tired or busy.
Wow. How did that happen?
Oh, Scott is Battle Ferrets. I didn't realize that. Hi, Scott. Sorry. I didn't. It's hard remembering people's nicknames when you move
change.
Yeah. So, yeah. We got Sparta and Ferrets. It makes me happy. So, anyway. So Steve is working on the angel that we started last week for Wedge. Wedge is a staple in the Magic community. Really backs a lot of the Magic community, and he had a big medical emergency at GP Vegas, well, just before GP Vegas started in Vegas, and so Steve is drawing this. That's what we drew last week, is stuff
to continuation.
And so, we are also still encouraging people to contribute to his GoFundMe. If someone can put the link to it again in the Google Doc. The Google Doc is in the doodly-doo down at the bottom. So the doodly-doo is down there. So if someone could link his GoFundMe there, that would be helpful and awesome. And so Steve, this is Steve's picture. He was kind of drawn for that. And we drew get well cards for him last week. And then we surprised him with them. His significant other got him to come on the show and watch as we unveiled our get well cards. It was funny. He's also a sketch and scotcher, so he's a fellow sketch and scotcher. Just a reminder, we will not be responding in chat in Twitch or comments in Facebook because we are focusing right now on YouTube is where we chat, and I can't keep track of lots of places. So if you want to be part of the conversation, come on over to the YouTube. We have the YouTube link down at the bottom. Make sure, I guess we're at a point where it's a good, what do you call it?
Commercial break?
Commercial break. Make sure to like, love, and tell all your friends about it. Go to steveargyle.com. We already mentioned that one. Where we have playmats and prints and all sorts of joyous fun. Upcoming, Steve's going to GP Sao Paulo on the 5th. He's scheduled to fly out on the 5th, get there on the 6th, which is the morning it starts, and leave there. So he gets there Friday morning.
I get there about the time that the GP starts.
If everything goes smoothly, which...
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is if there's a delay or something, and then I'm in big trouble.
And so he gets there right when the GP's starting, and then he leaves at 9 p.m. on Sunday. So he's doing like the Ironman weekend like he used to. When I used to not go to shows, this is what he did to himself. See what happens when I don't go? It's ridiculous, guys. So,
I don't suppose we have anyone on the stream who's going to be there. We are kind of in the same... Oh, is Anya on?
Yeah, Anya's there.
Awesome.
I wonder if there's a way to enable putting links into your chat on Facebook or on YouTube. I wonder if there's a way to enable that.
Good question. I don't know.
Will there be a sketch and scotch next week? No. Because he'll be getting ready for GP Sao Paulo.
Yeah, probably.
And especially with me not going, I prep all the stuff. So no sketch and scotch next week. Thank you for reminding us, Dan. And probably a sketch and scotch. It'll be the same as what we did with Vegas. Probably a sketch and scotch on the 10th, but it might get canceled if Steve is totally broken.
Yeah, probably.
Andy11 asked why I'm not going to GP Brazil. The plane ticket's just too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of international stuff, and so we're used to expensive flights, but they were like
the most expensive flight I've ever seen, dude.
Right now, it's at like $2,700.
Yeah.
And that's kind of steep.
Yeah, I really, really want to go. I am afraid that basically paying that much for a plane ticket would eat up all of the whole reason for me going.
Yeah, and since I'm doing the Spartan Ironman thing, we wouldn't get to go see any of Brazil anyway, so it's not really like we can
It's
write
just
it off as a
sad.
vacation.
Yeah. Well, originally the setup we did was so because I've already scheduled out all my time for the whole year at work. I actually have a real job too, not just helping Steve. And they are very kind to me with time off and allowances and stuff. They're super sweet, and so I have the time off if the price goes down. I totally already have it. Tappy says that she has a ton of wonderful Brazil followers on Twitter. It might be worth asking around. The community seems amazing. We are starting to. We're starting here because these are people we know.
Yep, we figured we'd start here because Sketch and Scotchers
Sketch and
are
Scotchers
people
know
we really
Steve,
like,
and they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
Sparta asked, "Are you maining anyone in Overwatch, or are you just jumping all over the place like usual?"
I mostly play mystery heroes, so
Jumping all over the place like usual.
Yes, Overwatch decides who I'm playing. One of my favorite characters to play is Diva, but the character I seem to do best with is Hanzo. Filthy, filthy Hanzo main.
Oh, so yeah, this last week was crazy, stupid, busy. We got back from Vegas on Monday, as you guys know. And then we had Sketch and Scotch on Tuesday, and I was working 410s at the place I was working, and at the place I work. And so what I mean by 410s is four 10-hour days to make up for not being there on Monday. Like I said, they're awesome and give me so many allowances. And so I needed to get to bed as soon as I could, but then we had some friends and they were in town for only that day, and they wanted to come over and visit us at 10 at night. So I made awesomely poor choices. And Steve can, yeah. You know, I keep giving Steve a hard time that he sleeps in and stuff like that, or that he can sleep in, but he's harder on his sleep schedule than I am on mine. And then the next day, Drew Baker came into town and hung out with us. And I made other poor choices, which are totally worth it, to stay up late and hang out with him. And then the next night, what did we do? That was a Thursday. Maybe I got to bed finally on time. And then basically it's just all the hanging out with people. On Saturday, I had to go hot air ballooning. I know that sounds weird. I had to go hot air ballooning. But it's actually one of my jobs. I've been doing it ever since I was wee. I actually have my pilot's license. So I hot air balloon. Mostly I do crew chief. And so I had to be the crew chief for my dad as we hot air ballooned on Saturday, which means I had to wake up at 5:45. So I still didn't get a sleep in.
Yeah, that's the rough part. You have to get up super early, and you have to manhandle the balloon and all
like
the
250
stuff,
pounds,
which is
envelope and everything like that. And then I came home and I went to bed for a half an hour, and then we had to get up at 10 to go to that portrait into the plein air painting. Except we totally woke up at 9:45, late. It was really bad. And we did that all afternoon, and then we played Magic that night. It was a marathon weekend. It was so fun and insanely exhausting. I loved it, but oh my gosh.
And I had been planning, or hoping, but I guess not planning, I knew it wasn't going to happen, to get all my stuff done so that I could get this playmat done and strike while the iron is hot, as it were. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to, so that's why we're doing it on the stream. Plus, then you get to see a little bit more of the process. I know a lot of folks have asked to see more than just the initial sketch, see how it evolves from there. So that's what we're doing. And you can see that I'm continuing with what we had before, and I'm still continuing to do things loose and rough. I haven't gone in and done a nice drawing, and I'm probably not going to at all. But even if I were, this wouldn't be quite this stage yet, because I haven't entirely decided that all of this is going to stay where it is. And one thing that I've learned that hard to teach, and it's hard to anticipate, it's something that just comes with experience, is how light and color kind of affect and distort the proportions. I'm sure a lot of you have had the experience of, you have this drawing that looks perfect and you're just so happy with it, and when you color it, things start looking wrong and you can't figure it out because the drawing's fine. You go back to the drawing, it's fine, and it just doesn't work well once you get colors down on it. And that could be lots of things. It can be that the shadow shapes are wrong, or the colors themselves are too strong or too dark, or whatever. There's lots of things it can be, but one thing that it can be that you don't necessarily think of is that your perceptions assign some things to value and color that are not actually true. For example, light colors, and you've probably heard these things, light colors tend to come forward and they tend to appear bigger. Reds tend to be, and warm colors tend to be or feel bigger and closer. And because of that, once you start coloring just the tiniest little bit, they'll look a little bit bigger if they're brighter. They'll look a little bit bigger if they're a vibrant color. And because I use a lot of bright and vibrant colors, it's something I have to take into account. If you're working in darker stuff or monotone stuff, it doesn't pop up as much. But as I go, I'll often find that there are pieces that need to be bigger or smaller, or shifted just a little bit because now they are too dominant, or they even look out of proportion because they're a bright color against a dark color, and now it looks too big. And drawing is fine, but you have a lot of these weird little optical illusion things that happen.
We've talked about it before, where we have people who have drawn and been drawing for a while, and they measured every little inch out on the canvas and did the perfect proportions on the canvas, but it still looks wrong. And if it looks wrong, it is wrong. I know it sounds funny, but if people continuously, and you continuously, time after time, keep looking at the picture, and even though you measured all those proportions, it looks wrong, then it is wrong, because that's art.
Mm-hmm. And we've also talked about how your reference can lie to you. There's more to a photograph than, or rather, a photograph does not represent reality. And I'm not talking about glamour photography where they Photoshop it and change it. I'm talking about any picture you take. One common problem is that you'll stick to your reference with tenacity because you know it's right, or you'll even, a lot of people photo bash, or they'll trace it because they want it to be perfect, and then when they execute on it, it just doesn't fit. Things don't look like they match. Things don't look right. And even if you're accounting for things like differing light sources, stuff just doesn't fit. And we've talked about this on the show a few times. One thing that is easy to forget is things like focal angles for your camera. If you take a picture of your friend with your iPhone and then you paste it into a picture that you took at Niagara Falls because you want to combine the two and you can't get them to fit, part of it is potentially that the focal lengths are different. If you take a picture of somebody with a
quiet put, eyes have a better f-stop than any lens.
They sure do. They sure do. It's part of what makes drawing from life so important and so difficult, because your eyes are seeing things as relative. You have binocular vision, so you're compensating for any kind of what would be a lens distortion.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we talked about the other day the difference painting from a photo and painting from life is huge. It's just unbelievably huge. There's so much you have to interpret. And that's what I've been learning with doing the portrait painting. Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
It definitely has its roughnesses.
Roughnesses?
Roughnesses.
Roughnesses?
Roughnesses.
Just reminder people, this Sketch and Scotch is still brought to you this time by the
Drink Fairy who bring. Oh right.
GoFundMe for
Wedge.
Wedge. The link to it is in the Google Doc. And the link to the Google Doc. Oh wow, it's like a scavenger hunt. The link to the Google Doc is in the doodly doo.
Yes. On the bottom right
of Facebook
right.
YouTube. Also, to those on Facebook and on Twitch, we are chatting in YouTube because Twitch was glitchy and Facebook is not really a chat engine. Feel free to watch there, but if you want to be part of the conversation, come on over to YouTube. The link is down in the bottom corner of the stream. So, anyway.
I get asked sometimes how I get rid of lines, and I have a handful of ways, but the easiest is to have all of your sketches and line work and stuff in its own place.
I hadn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The squam work from last week was what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. So make sure to link that in the Google Doc. Again, the Doodly Doo has the link for that. And Steve has a website. It's steveargyle.com. You should go check it out because it's awesome. Heart. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I get distracted by shiny things. Okay, getting rid of lines, Steve. Continue.
So it's one of the frequently asked questions is how do you get rid of line work without losing all that? And real quick, easy way, especially when it's messy and sketchy like this, is you just keep it on another layer, and you can have a layer mask, right? And if you need your line work back, you can. If you just want to check it, you can hold down Shift and it'll get rid of your layer mask because all that's still there. Or if you just want to dial in how much line work, you can paint it in or out with a mask. There's lots of other ways. I will often, if it's not as, this one I'm going to probably erase mostly as I go because I want to keep a lot of the vibrancy of the colors as kind of a dawn image. But also you can use your smudge tool to just smudge it out. And that can be good because you can do it selectively. Like say you want to just do one edge of a line so that it becomes more like an occlusion shadow or something. You can just kind of smudge out one part of that. Another good way is the spot heal tool, right? This little band-aid here. You can just draw over your lines and it'll take a little bit of cleanup, but mostly Photoshop is smart enough to be like, oh, you want to get rid of those lines. So that's just a quick little thing. Now that I'm thinking of it.
Alex got on. He said he met us at GP Paris a couple years ago, and he was judging.
Awesome.
And we signed some cards for him, and recently he sold the Lilianas and used the money to pay for a deposit on a wedding venue for him and his fiancée.
That's an excellent use for them.
Very good. Good. Congratulations. Hope you have an awesome wedding.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So that is super cool. Asteroxa was just telling people how to join the Ascended Minion Project, which is Steve's fan club. It is not ran by Steve, it is ran by fans. And he's just showing people it's ascendedminionproject@gmail.com. The more information you give him, the more awesome stuff you might get. It will not be used for evil, only for awesome. Like you might get random cool stuff. Every time if you become a minion, every show you see us at, you get 10 free tokens, and sometimes the different shows will bring different swag. So it pays to be a minion, and come and tell us. There were so many minions at GP Vegas.
It was awesome.
Amazing. We love you guys. Evan asked, how many minions are there? Almost 700?
At least 700.
Oh, at least 700. It's over that now?
Mm-hmm. We are, so the numbering is still in the high 600s, but there are a lot of people who either didn't want a number or called out a specific number, or they are attached to another number. Like there's a lot of 0.5s, a lot of married couples like to be the same number and have like a family where they're just decimals. And
just make sure to get your Minion ID number. And if you're at a show with us, you can actually get Steve to draw your Minion ID card. But you have to keep in mind, it'll be in that chibi little Lopalop style of whatever your kind of spirit animal or silliness you want it to be. So you have to think of that before you get it done. Also, you need to schedule that ahead of time at the beginning. It's free, but you need to schedule the time to get it done.
Yes, our GP schedule has gotten
very Evan busy. Says he's number 776, Steve.
Oh.
So we are well over 700. That's awesome.
So there's a good answer.
Cat's BFF is number 429, 429.2.0 or 2.0.
See? Families.
So. Oh wait, that's not the right lex. Asteroxa says there's 3 in their family. It's 491, 491 2.0, 491 3.0. So yeah.
Our other, there was a handful of other family minions at Vegas. We had Emilian and Emmanuel, and they have a 0.1 and a 0.2, I think. Mm-hmm. Or 2.0, yeah.
No, so kids usually you do is 2.0 and 3.0, and significant others are 0.5s.
Yes.
Usually. Poison Stripes is number 64. Minion number 64.
Wow, you have been around a while.
Yeah.
We started the Minion cards and everything in 2013.
Oh, Keeson's waiting for 555.5 soon.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
That's cool. And so, and I believe I am Minion 0 is the one I asked for. Because I was a fangirl a long time before there was fangirling.
There's also unofficial official minions. Like if Quiet Sea is on, she has at least one Minion ID card, but she doesn't want to be an official minion. She refuses to get a number.
Dan is the 585 and Ascended 33.
Awesome.
So that's another thing with the Ascended Minion Project is You can ascend if you're very active in the community, which is mostly on Tumblr. If you're super active in the community or do something that really stands out in the community, you can campaign to be ascended. And you get some extra special stuff with that and cool things along that.
So one of the things that we have talked about, and Drew gave us a nice analogy, its clarification, is that don't be afraid to start stuff and get messy and do things wrong, because a lot of times the easiest way to make something is to just put something down and then fix it. And
yeah, what was the quote? You can't. It's
you
a
can't
quote from.
you can't edit a blank page. It's a writer's quote.
But it still works.
But the idea is, don't worry about getting it perfect the first time. Just worry about getting something started.
That's how it was for me at the plein air painting. I just sat down. It was so overwhelming. I didn't even know where to start. So I was just like, throw some paint on this. I totally did it in wrong order and everything like that. But gotta just go and get started.
Yeah, and especially if you're working with a forgiving medium like digital here, you can fiddle with things forever. It's both the strength and the weakness. So like if I want to change her expression / proportions, I can do a lot of that just with this fun little liquify tool. So that's always a good one to know. And especially when it comes to faces and things, you can just use your instincts. We all know what people look like. That's what makes them so difficult, but also makes them something that you can fix without having a ton of training and experience. You can say, well, let's see, maybe the cheekbones look like they're a little broad, so you can just bring them in, right? Maybe the nose looks a little flat, so bring it out. If you can recognize that something's wrong, then you can usually pinpoint that what it is that's making it wrong, and that's the whole process of refining a painting or a drawing, is your problem solving. You're saying, well, this looks, and it sounds really overly simplistic when you actually say it. It's like, if it looks like it's glowing, then darken it. If it looks too dark, then lighten it. If it looks too big, make it smaller. But essentially, that is what artists are doing. Is we're evaluating, we're fixing, and we're making decisions. Because there's a lot of things where there's not a right or a wrong, and those are the funnest things. And I mean, if you really get down to it, there's no right or wrong for anything when it comes to art.
But there's still good ways to discuss and talk.
But if it's not doing what you want it to do, you should be able to step back and say, well, what do I want it to do? And why isn't it saying that? What can I do to take these things? And that's true of things like proportion and perspective, but it's also true of things like narrative and mood and theme, all of these more nebulous bits that you hear about. And when we talk about a lot of the little specific things like repetition and structure and composition, those are just tools to get your message across. Whatever it is you're trying to do, that's your toolbox of, well, what if I tried this? You don't absolutely have to know any of that stuff at all, but it gives you a bunch of stuff to try. And that's how I always look at learning art and how to and stuff like that. You're combining a bunch of things. Like studies are, you're just trying to learn the thing that you're looking at, learn a little bit more about it, or you're trying to get a handle on the medium. When you are learning about things like composition, you're trying to become aware of how placement and size affects what you see and what message it gives. And we have a whole episode that you can still go back and watch on composition, where we talk about the rules, and then we talk about all the great ways of breaking them.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the other things. I don't even really want to say that there are rules in art. It's that if you do things this way, they produce a certain effect. And so if you want that effect, then that's the thing you should do. Or you can totally break it to get a different effect. Anyways.
Cat's BFF brought a bunch of friends this week.
Awesome.
So Rooster and like 2 others are all hanging out on here too. Hi guys. So Evan has a question.
Okay.
Ready, Steve?
I am ready.
If you could make art for a saga, which art style would you like to paint in?
Oh, for the like magic sagas?
That's what Evan said.
Because at first I was thinking like Star Wars or whatever. Like, what saga would I? But for the magic sagas, I think it would be super cool to do a saga in stone carved runes, like the Picts or the Celts used to do, where it's chiseled into granite.
That's pretty extreme, Steve.
With lots of little naughty runes and stuff. Naughty with a KN, not naughty with an NAU.
So speaking
Might
of,
be fun though.
at work today, I had to arrange some tables for like putting a big pizza thing together. We have one table that's triangle shaped with rounded edges, and then a long, just normal plastic folding table.
Uh-huh.
And I was trying to make the table as long as I could, and I butted it up against one side of the rounded triangle, and I was like, nope! I even said it out loud. I'm like, nope, 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 yeah, can't do that. And so I flipped the folding table around so that the long side matched up along the triangle instead of going out from it. Because I just could not bring myself to make that image, to put those tables like that. Someone also suggested when I pointed it out that we go get 2 of the round tables from the kitchen just over one area and put them at the end to help with serving.
Just so that it just completes the theme.
Yeah, I like seriously set it up and then I started saying it out loud and someone came like, oh, did you need some help setting stuff up? I'm like, oh, no, I just didn't want to, yeah, can't do that. One of my coworkers, I told him about it and he's like, I'm going to come in at like 6 a.m. one of these days and set that table up like that and take pictures. It was awesome. See, guys, you have to use a little of your imagination for that story right there. But we've had stories like that in the
Painted a
past.
picture with your words. So I just want to show you, like you watched it and everything, but my initial little face that I put in was a little wonky, and I just pushed and pulled until it felt more like the volumes were in the right places and it looked a little bit more realistic, and it was showing me it was just a little bit more what I wanted. And I will do that all the time. It's one of the things that makes me a bad oil painter. I'm learning is that I fiddle with things as I go. I constantly am trying to think. I'll try out things that you just can't do with oil paints. Like I'll say, well, you know what? This halo, do I want maybe like a double halo? What if I had like a halo that goes up and off into the distance? And you can do that in a drawing, of course, as you're fiddling, but I will just constantly be doing that and making notes to myself, and because I keep things fairly loose in the beginning, there's a lot of playing around with proportions and placement, and I feel like that's really, really helpful, and it's how I arrive at the pieces that I've liked. But it does have its weaknesses, like you develop some bad habits if you try and work traditionally. But there's a lot that you can. It's also fun to just be like, well, what if I did a thing like this, or what if this was over here? And I don't worry that much if something doesn't look right, because I can fix it. That's the theme I was getting back to, is you can fix it. If you're painting and the face looks wrong, you can fix it. If you can recognize that it's wrong, you can recognize what makes it wrong. I don't want to, I'm using the word wrong too much.
Don't want to be negative.
I don't want to be negative, because there's not wrong in art. There's choices to be made, but there's certainly a goal that you're probably going for. And that's kind of what I mean by wrong, is that it's not doing what you were hoping for. It's not.
You can think something doesn't look right. That's fine.
Yeah. Another reason I don't tend to do hard drawings is that me at least, if I have a nice drawing, I want to keep all the lines, I want to keep all the edges. And that doesn't always make for a great painting. It takes a little bit of that, or rather a realistic.
And you're afraid
painting.
to do stuff to it because you don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Evan actually asked specifically to be 776, so it is actually down it. Officially we're around like 626, but we probably are over 700 with all the special requests.
Yeah, that's kind of my estimate. I have pictures of most of the Minion ID cards, and there's I haven't done ID cards for everybody, but I have like 500 cards.
Panda just came on.
Hi, Panda.
Hi, Panda. Steve, I thought you said you weren't going to get too much detail. You were going to keep it pretty loose here.
That's true. It's getting to where it's ready to start tightening areas. I kind of just got carried away with the little mini lesson of.
I think you're going to suddenly get a huge influx of minions, Steve.
Cool. Justin will be excited too.
Yeah. The Ascended Minion Project, like I said, is basically a Steve Argyle fan club that takes place on Tumblr. It's Ascended Minion Project on Tumblr. And people basically get together and just compare their collections and talk about stuff there. About twice a year, there's a some sort of challenge or like quiz or game. I guess game shows is what he calls them, that are fun to do. Like we said, if you become a minion, you get stuff at every show you see us at. It's a lot of fun. So. All right. And Steve, what were you saying earlier that the sketch and scotch is brought to you by?
Wedges. It's for Wedge.
You had a funny one too.
I did?
You were trying to.
I forgot.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's our drink fairy.
Oh, yes.
Because he brings me awesome drinks.
Yes, we do have a drink fairy. This is at least in Vegas every year. He brings us amazing drinks every day. And he has ogres sneak Starbursts into Steve's pockets.
Then Cat steals them.
And yes, I ate them all last week and they were delicious. And so we just like to remind people to like and love and share, just like Kat's BFF is with all of her friends, like Rooster, all those guys. Share with your friends, Sketch and Scotch, and come and check stuff out on Steve's website, steveargyle.com. We are not responding to comments on Facebook right now because, well, it's not a chat forum, so we're just chatting right now in YouTube, and we are not, while we are streaming to Twitch, we aren't chatting there because it's been really glitchy recently. So feel free to lurk there, but if you want to be part of the conversation, come on over to YouTube. The YouTube address is in the bottom of the stream. And coming up on review time soon, so make sure you got your squad work in. And the Google Doc is in the doodly-doo, the bottom.
So a quick thought on use of color is one great use for color that I am constantly abusing is directionality. When you're drawing something like a tone drawing, you use value to show where something turns to shadow, or this side's dark, this side's light. And you can do similar things with color. And of course you can combine them with value and make awesome things. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm having things that are facing toward the sky. They're going to reflect a lot of those sunlight colors. So your mind will interpret those as being a certain, facing a certain direction. It's the same as working with planes, and you're just considering those planes to be not just values but also colors. And you can get a lot of really cool effects that way without having to use tons of light and dark. And if you're combining them with light and dark, you can get very definite read on your volumes. That comes in especially handy when it's shapes that your brain isn't going to fill in the blanks for. When you are painting people or cars or dinosaurs or anything that somebody already knows how they're built and how they're put together, it's easy to get away. You can get away with a lot because your brain knows what it is. It's filling in all the blanks. If you're trying to show something that is new and doesn't exist, and you want it to look realistic and clear, using color as an indicator of where the planes are facing can take you a long way. I just figured I'd bring that up because I'm kind of doing that, and that's what I'm thinking of right now. Is I want to show that, like, this little chest piece kind of comes out and then cuts in and then cuts in again. And part of how I'm gonna show that is having a lot of these sky colors on everything that is facing the sky, and then I'm gonna have a cooler color and some more purpley things coming from the bottom. And I'm also making, as you can see, a little bit of a distinction between the left side and the right side. So you can see there's a clear divide. And these are just things that I keep in mind as I'm juggling things out. And you can also see that I'm still not focusing in on an area. I'm still deciding where, like, how this whole scheme is going to work. And so it's more like I'm testing it in spots. I'm like, does it work if I do this, without committing to a whole thing? You'll see lots of folks tell you, bounce around a drawing or bounce around a painting. Don't just focus in and go from top to bottom or left to right or from the center out, because you'll get distortions and you'll get stuck. And it's also harder to make clear evaluations and decisions that way. Because a lot of art is just making decisions.
And just to remind people, the link for the squam work is in the little description doodly-doo at the bottom of the YouTube video. Or not in the actual video, but in the little description below.
Another quick thing, just I'm calling it out as I do it. I'm usually on autopilot, but I'm trying to kind of let you know what I'm doing is little nooks and crannies, also called occlusion shadows. I like to reserve my darks for only those spots. They're just little punches of dark, and I try not to go very dark for most of my painting, because that leaves me room to do these little nooks and crannies where things really go deep, or they're in shadow already but they're overlapping something else. It's a good reason to keep most of your values, leave some room. That's what I'm saying. Leave some room and be sparing with all of your extremes. I'm going to do the same for highlights. Like, we haven't really gotten there, but it's easy to think, oh, well, there's going to be a highlight here and 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 a highlight, and it starts to get messy in a hurry and looks over-rendered. So what you want to do is just find a couple of spots that you want to highlight.
Business Wolf says, leave some room for value, Jesus.
Yes. Highlights and deep shadows you want to think of as, or I think of as, I shouldn't tell you how to do your thing, I'm sorry. But the way I do it is, those are the candy, those are the dessert. You want to, they're the flourishes, the little bits that you want to be really sparing with. It's the icing.
Yeah, I also found, like, this weekend, because we were painting outside, and she was wearing a white dress and standing in front of a white fence and all of that. You can't paint whiter.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason to be very sparing in your highlightiest highlights. I was having so many problems this weekend where it's like, I'm painting with straight white, but it needs to be whiter, and so, yeah. Try to use the values, try to go in between, and save those things to really define pieces.
And even though I haven't done the eyes at all, even a little bit, a very common mistake is to think in absolute terms. And you say, oh, well, eyes are white, or the whites of the eyes are white. So what I do is I put the whites of the eyes in,
Now she's scary.
And then she
That's
has,
scary, Steve. Stop
she
it.
has blue eyes, and there's the black in the pupil. And why does it look weird? Well, it looks weird because it's all relative color, right? White is relative, and you've I'm sure you guys have seen all those little comparisons.
She sees all, Steve.
Yeah, she sees all. But even if you take it way, way down, it's still a little bit potent. But the idea is you want to start thinking in relative color and relative value. It's another reason to just get something down on the page, because then you can say, well, this should be lighter, or this should be colder, or this should be more green, or whatever. And that's easy, right? You don't have to find the perfect color and lay it right down. You can say, well, I know that the eyes are lighter for the iris, or the sclera, than what I've got. So I can take what I've got and we'll go lighter. Okay, so here's some lighter. Is that light enough? Is that not enough? Does it need to have any kind of a color shift? And you can go relative rather than trying to find the perfect color. You can say, well, I need a little bit of dark in the mouth corners. It looks like they're not quite defined enough, so we'll just take the colors that are there, make them a little bit darker. Same here. It's going to be a little bit more shadow here. There's going to be a little bit darker eyebrows. If we want, and like, say we do want to give her blue eyes, you take what's there and you say, okay, well, let's go toward blue, make it a little lighter. Start with that. Does that look blue in the context of what was there? Maybe it could go a little bit more. So like, I'll just do it like that without going around the pupil. So if you look at that, that looks like a really light blue eye. But it's actually pretty purple, and it's not that light. So trying things out and working in relative color is going to save you a lot of heartache. And see, like over there, that same color is too, I'll zoom in a little bit, it's too saturated. Like this, which is not very blue and not very saturated, looks too blue. So you can just take it down a bit. Put some pupils in there. And again, going relative, not just saying it needs to be black, because
yeah, something that Business Wolf said, and we've talked about before, never use straight white for anything. Though Sparta did point out you can get a little more away with a little more traditionally than digitally, but yeah, in general, don't use straight black or straight white.
Yeah. When it comes to traditional, there's very little that actually is straight black or straight white. Like titanium white is kind of a super light blue. It's cold. It has color temperature. The problem with digital white and black is it's really white and black, and it has no color temperature. Whereas if you're working traditionally, you have different kinds of black and different kinds of white, and when you mix them, they change the color of what you're working with. That being said, it's still a good idea to avoid the pure white and the pure black, because they're just extreme values. And even though there is color temperature, often it doesn't entirely read. Anyways, sorry, didn't mean to start. I'm still trying to stay loose. Get back.
So
Step
Steve
back a bit.
did do what he says, not what he does.
Yeah, do the thing.
Steve has a big problem with getting lost in the
Lost in the
weeds.
details. I do.
In the details. I told you guys the joke before, but I honestly came in one time and found him doing highlights on the eyelashes of a piece.
And this was a piece where there was a character and full body with wings
similar
and
actually to
cave in the background.
Yeah, similar to the detail level or to the size of this one, and it was a full body like this one. Similar focus like this one, and so it wasn't that it was Thalia where it's a super close up on the face. It was about at this level, and he was putting highlights on her eyelashes.
And that's something to consider is resolution. This is low enough resolution that if I get too close, there's just no pixels to work with. And that's good because you, like Kat says, you can get lost in the weeds where as you're zooming in, you forget that it's not going to be this big in reality.
Yeah. Actually, it was even more back. It was even more zoomed back in one picture.
Full body with wings, and you could see all the wings. And then she was in a big old cave, and you could see all the stalactites in the cave. And it was like, on a standard size print, you would barely see the eyes, let alone the highlights in the eyes, let alone reflections in the highlights in the eyes.
So you were talking about don't use absolute white or anything, and Dan was asking, well, what about clouds? Are clouds white?
No, they're it's all relative color.
A fun thing to play with that I've had fun at the idea of relative color is go take some pictures of sunsets or clouds on a bright blue where it looks like it's the most white cloud ever. Take pictures of it, bring it up digitally in your download the picture to your computer and go get the eyedropper tool. And grab the color and see what it tells you that color is. Because you'll be surprised. It's really cool.
So if I wanted to give her some clouds in the background, if I just used white, it would not fit, right? Now, part of the reason is the light source. And that's why I say work in relative color, because if I were to do any clouds, I wouldn't want to use white. I would want to use one of the lightest colors that's already here, right? So I'm using a yellow, and that would be the lightest color of the cloud. Now, clouds have shape. They have cast shadows. They do all that stuff. So the cloud itself would have highlights. It would have shadows, and that's one thing to consider is even water vapor has shape. Even water vapor is reacting to the light around the piece. And straight white, even if I go lightly, it is not going to react well with the colors that are there. It is killing the color temperature. And I say that, I'm saying that over and over again, the temperature. This piece is very warm. Even the cool parts of this image are still in a closer to neutral, but they look cool because they're against such warm colors. If I use straight black to shade something, or if I use straight white to highlight something, it's cutting away from the color scheme that is here. It is going to make the warm colors cool where they shouldn't be cool just yet. Whereas if I wanted something really dark, I would go near black, but very saturated with a color, right? So like a super dark purple would probably be how I would use a very dark, if I needed really dark spots here. Because straight black looks out of place. So, and when like you're mentioning clouds, absolute color would be the thing that can, in perfect lighting scenarios, it is measured as. Like white paint with lead white and everything, that's white. But in a painting, even if something is that, the Pantone color for it, it's not going to look like that because it's reacting to all the light that's coming in. Something that's pure white that's being hit by sunlight is going to not be pure white. It's going to be warm. It's going to have the color temperature of the sunlight that hits it. If it's in shade, it's going to have the color temperature of mostly the sky because that's where it's getting its light from. So
Business Wolf wrote and said, clouds are super fun when they're not white because honestly they complement the sky's colors so nicely and they can be so colorful. They're so adaptive. It's kind of very similar to what you're like. They're going to absorb because of the whiteness of them, they're going to absorb all the colors of everything around them. The sun, the sky.
And they're translucent.
They're hard.
Clouds have a lot going on. And they are really good to paint and practice because there's a handful of things that a cloud makes you do. Like, they don't really have hard edges. They mostly don't have hard edges. I guess from far enough away, a big thundercloud. But you still need to go in and out of soft edges. Even with the most aggressively sharp cloud, it's still going to have a lot of soft stuff. And learning how to work with hard edges and soft edges and where to put them and stuff like that is also a good skill to have. It's one of the things that I'm getting a lot of practice in with the oil painting that we're doing. Digitally, I just soften an edge with my little smudge tool, but in oil painting, I'm having to learn how to do it the right way. Anyways, it's probably about time to look at squam work, isn't it? Or do you guys want to keep going?
Yeah.
Kat has lots of hard early work this week, in addition to having done it last week.
I don't have to, but I'm going to end up doing, instead of 4 10s like I did last week, I'm going to end up doing 5 10s this week. Totally on accident. Because I stayed late yesterday trying to put together a big project today. I did the big project today. I made a bug squash day because I do quality assurance for a living. And so I coordinated with our whole R&D group to have everyone work on getting rid of bugs in our software for the whole day. And then tomorrow and the next day I have manager training because I am also a manager. And I still have to coordinate and finish up all the stuff for the bug squash day, like giving out prizes for silly things. So yeah, it's gonna be joyous times to be had by all. Woo! So yeah, I woke up at 6 this morning and I got home at 6:30 at night. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I got home at like about 7 actually.
Poor Cat has all the work.
They were talking about Raid is a good way to get rid of bugs. I cannot spray my computer with Raid. I mean, I guess it gets rid of all the code. But, and Janet's talking about how her friend has Madagascar hissing cockroaches and she gives them away as pets. And I was telling him how Justin and Shade have cockroaches too. And like the pet cockroaches, the ones that people actually keep as pets, some seriously do, they're actually kind of cute and sweet. What I hate is actually crickets. They are the stinkiest, messiest, most obnoxious little thing to keep around for other pets. Cockroaches are pet cockroaches. Are a walk in the park. They're wonderful.
You guys know the trivia of why we call them bugs in a computer, right?
I found out a little more about this, but continue.
Oh, well, it sounds like Kat probably knows more of the story than I do. but...
So the traditional statement for it is that in the 1940s, there was a woman and their computers were these huge machines. And there was actually a... And whenever there was a problem with the machine, they had to document it in a book. And the true problem that caused the issue in the machine that day was a bug. There was a literal moth inside the machine causing problems with the parts that caused it to have a malfunction. So they actually caught the moth, and they wrote that there was a bug in the computer and taped the moth into the bug book, into the glitches book. But that is the traditional story everyone tells. But bug has actually been used as a problem term for long before that. That's just the first documented computer bug. Edison actually used the term bug in some notes he was writing on some of his tests, as he wrote about having bugs that he needed to work out in some of his theories. And it turns out that it's actually been being used for hundreds of years back to just kind of describe like goblins or gremlins in the machine sort of idea. So bugs have actually been used, the term bug has been used for hundreds of years. But the first documented computer bug is the story from the 1940s. And even then, that story has some contradictions in it. But there is a picture of that moth taped in the documentation book. So.
Awesome.
So anyway, that was me geeking out as a software nerd that I am, because that's actually what I do for a real job. I manage QA now. I manage quality assurance people. I have 8 different teams. 6 of them are in India. Shout out to my Indian friends. They are awesome. And yes, I did all sorts of bug jokes and themes and everything in my Bug Squash day today. The awards, Steve helped me write the awards. So like the awards for most code reviews was called Compound I. The reward for the most test cases written I called Charlotte's Web. So there are all sorts of funny jokes about bugs. It was great. All right. Dan thought you might somehow break into a little Bob Ross when speaking about happy little clouds, by the way, Steve.
It has been known to happen.
All right. Are you ready? I
am
gave
ready.
people time to submit all their stuff into the GDoc. You have the GDoc link because you put it in the doodly-doo. Let's do this. If you guys remember, this homework was what happens in Vegas. So, alright, surviving was my homework is what Sparta says. Alright, so Tappy Toes, a girl and her golem. I'm so excited to see this. Anya's getting sleepy. Stay up just a little, Anya, longer, Anya. Oh my gosh. That is so cute. It's like Bill Watterson style a little. Yeah. That is so adorable.
And it's like a little weather light.
It's a little baby weather light.
A little weather light and a little barn.
Is that a what's her name? Purple hair chick?
Joyra?
Yeah, is that a little Joyra?
Could be. Kind of looks like it.
It looks like a little Joyra to me. A little Joyra in a car in a weather light. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna die. Yep, it is a Joyra car in these
That is awesome.
Tappy Toes has an awesome Joyra cosplay.
Are you gonna do?
So this is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Steve marries a watermelon. I would not be surprised.
In the presence of Panda and some guy.
Whose is this?
Oh, this is Dan's.
Nice. Even did Panda was your Panda and some guy are going to be. That is beautiful, Dan. Steve would totally marry
truer
a
than
watermelon.
you know.
Yeah. Seriously.
If there was like a Morton
Steve would leave me
Cannon's-
for watermelon.
If there was a Morton Cannon's watermelon elemental, I probably would be married to it. Would you be okay in a plural marriage if it was to a watermelon elemental?
I would probably
That's a
be
no.
slightly abusive to the watermelon elemental in that I would be nomming it.
Well, they grow back. That's the best part. I mean, I couldn't handle if I couldn't eat it. It would be a very short courtship. The police would show up. What happened?
Here is Panda. Treasures.
Treasures!
That looks like the happiest little devil panda. I love that it's got a halo with the little devil horns on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's adorable.
That's Panda's minion avatar. We were talking about minion ID cards and stuff.
That's so cute that it's a halo with horns on it. It kills me.
Awesome.
Oh, Steve, I don't think I can let you go to Brazil without me. Anya just convinced me I need to buy my $2,700 ticket. Anya says, careful, cat, in Brazil there are many, many watermelons.
Oh.
Oh. Steve's never coming back from Brazil. Ah. Yeah, as Keith put it, exotic watermelon. Mm.
Oh. Is that... I'll compare them, because Green River watermelons, which are the ones that we usually get around here, are some of the best.
Green River watermelons are the best in the world, but you tell me how those Brazilian watermelons are.
I will try, because we've had good exotic watermelon in other places. Japanese watermelon is interesting, especially when they grow it into a square. Sometimes they grow them into squares.
It's cute. Oh my gosh.
Poisons.
Poison, this is beautiful. Planeswalkers in Vegas. This is Jace, Gideon, and Chandra. Have I told you guys how much I love you guys?
I can see Gideon starting with the one drink, telling the story about the irregulars. 3 hours later, he has had all the whiskey.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
that. That's awesome.
Panda hates watermelon, Steve.
What?
That's right. More
Panda.
watermelon for you.
Panda. How? It's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing. I have half a watermelon in the fridge, and I'll probably eat it all at once.
Tappy says that was pretty accurate Vegas after 6 hours in cosplay.
Yeah.
Whose is this one?
This is Andy 11.
Andy was there, and this is how it went. Benihana, dice, roulette, and...
I don't know this one.
Is that the dice thingy? The dice thingy? You know, I'm descriptive with my words and stuff. Can you tell I gamble? Oh, wait, no. By the way, and the Benihana is part of the joke there, too, because it was right next door, and we go to, end up going to the Benihana every year. So we agree, and now I really crave Benihana. Thanks, Andy. It's a hat.
So is there a Scoodle that I didn't know about?
Oh, he was working on cubes and cylinders. That's what Andy's little art focus was, is cubes and cylinders.
Oh,
so
nice.
that was a hat that he was drawing. Good art, dude. Good focus. I love the focus.
Excellent.
Please continue to make your own focuses. That's cool. If you want to work on an art idea, do it. There's some sort of thing you want to work on, do it.
Yeah.
It's what we encourage everyone to do.
So that's all the squum work.
Seriously, I think Andy's sums up the judges and where I always see them. They're always at the craps table or at the Benihana. And that's where we hang out with them and gets to hang out with them. And so.
So I see a bunch of Scoodles. What's the Scoodle? Oh, hey, look at that!
You opened them!
Birthday presents!
It's for their birthday!
Aw. Thank you, guys.
So, I don't think Steve even realizes it, but it's his birthday on Sunday. He might have not realized it till I brought it up a little earlier.
Sneaking up on me.
I know.
That is awesome.
We were joking if you'd noticed that there was Scoodles when there wasn't a Scoodle.
Yeah, I was like, wait, there's a whole bunch of Scoodles. You guys, I didn't do one. That is awesome.
Alright, so here's our first Scoodle.
Thank you, Sparta.
That's adorable.
awesome.
It's a dragon clan. Or it's a
Oh,
Hanzo.
it's Hanzo.
It's a Hanzo. I never realized how dragon clan-y Hanzo looks until now. And that's an amazing freaking Hanzo.
Yeah, good job.
Dang.
That's
like,
great.
The position and the dynamicism of it, but still keeping the anatomy is awesome. And he's shooting a watermelon. Thank you, Sparta.
It is so me. Thank you, Sparta. That's awesome.
Yeah, the tattoo looked really, really nice too. Heart you, Sparta. Oh.
Oh, here's Monty.
Monty's. Happy birthday, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's got a
Oh.
cool watercolor brush there. Like
We're
that.
having fun.
Yeah.
And a little filigree. Boop, 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 boop. Does anyone else,
Fabrique.
I have to ask, does anyone else make noises when they're doing like little doodles like that? Like doodly doo doodles? Like that?
Yes.
Like if I was drawing
I-
a little Fabergé on there, I would have totally been like doo 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 doo.
I actively suppress it during the stream. Which I guess I shouldn't because it's probably funny, but it's also, you know, like... Hey, thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. This is...
This one's
Skeeth. Skeeth Leet.
And he's Steve.
From a loyal
And then-
minion.
It's Steve and a minion.
That is awesome.
Just adorable. Happy birthday, Sensei Steve.
It is my Diva sweater shirt.
Oh, by the way, Monty said that was a vampire chalice. So.
Oh,
And yeah, like I said, I keep
I can
seeing
totally
it, and
see that, yeah.
I would totally, on the little filigree on that chalice, I would sing the whole time. Bye-bye, Evan. Thank you.
Bye.
Keeson
Thanks for
asked
joining us.
what's inside the chalice. Well, if it's Steve's birthday chalice, obviously it's scotch.
Mmm. The blood of the thing that Scotch is in. Sorry, I shouldn't even start if I don't have something.
Alright.
Awesome, awesome. This is super cool. Thank you, thank you.
Whose is this one?
Here we have Tappy Toe Claws.
Oh,
Still not old as a dinosaur or a necromancer. It's not quite, but
it's a
I'm...
Liliana dinosaur, Liliana dragon sword.
That's awesome.
With the tappy toe claws. Rawr. That's adorable.
I love it. I love the little headdress on the dinosaur. It's fantastic.
I like
Aw,
the
thank
claws.
you, thank
the
you.
tappy toe claws, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Clackety, clackety. Sharp. Sharp and clacky. It's adorable. Thank
Scott says the necromancer is just a really late healer.
you. I'm working on becoming a lich. Right? That's where I'm headed.
Oh, who's this from?
This one is Dan.
Is that his minion too?
I think so.
I think that's Dan's minion. And it's lighting the... I like the candles!
I like him.
I'm all over it!
And then some. That's super cute. That's a great little dragon minion.
It's
Love
super,
that.
super adorable. All the fire.
Aw. You guys are the best. There's cakes that you torch the top and they're even better.
Mm-hmm. This one from Keeson.
This is Keeson's.
Surprise!
Surprise!
Doc Argyle's Mountain Dew, did a little cupcake and happy birthday, and that super surprise, Steve, with a super surprise minion on your shirt.
Awesome.
That's adorable.
You guys haven't seen it because the Doc Argyle's Mountain Dew extract is an altar that Keeson got at GP Vegas, and I'll be posting it at some point. I've got so many altars
That
from
might
Vegas,
be back to Monty's Vampire Chalice. I don't know. Monty might have to answer. Monty, what's in the chalice? Is it gonna be Mountain Dew, or is it Scotch,
or is it watermelon blood,
it's called
or
juice.
is it all
It's
of them
called
put
juice,
together?
Steve. That sounds terrible.
It probably would be. Probably. Oh, thank you, Keeson. That is awesome.
Yeah, Keeson says he hasn't. He'll post it soon. He hasn't unpacked it yet.
I will also post it soon. I haven't been the greatest with the social media because I've been trying to get caught up.
Happy birthday to a fun guy.
Awesome!
It's a fungus saying a fungi. There's a fungus among us.
I love funguses. I
love saute funguses.
You saute like a shiitake mushroom forever, and it's so good. Portobello.
Steve says Dr. Argyle's watermelon blaster flavor.
Oh, I like that. I want that.
Is that what we
I want
call
to go
the
to
watermelon Mountain Dew Scotch aberration?
So one of the things that we have thought about doing on the show for a long time is drink menu or drink recipes. We may have to invent this drink just for the show. I am confident that with enough experimentation and probably no small amount of failures, we could make a drink that was Scotch, Mountain Dew, watermelon, and make it good.
Scotch and Mountain Dew
some other
would probably
things too.
go together all right, and you could make it work.
I think you could. I have confidence that you can make almost anything work, and I think that could work. You just have to figure out how to balance.
Scott says I'll start drinking again if you guys make drink recipes. The first one being your watermelon Mountain Dew Scotch recipe. And what's the name for it again? Doc Argyle's.
So I kind of wish at some point I'm gonna rearrange the little studio down here so there's actually stuff in the background, not just my cluttered table. But right off of where you just barely can't see, I have the preliminary sketch for a playmat drawing, and I have all these drink menu or drink names on the side that are all Magic the Gathering themed, like the Otagatini, and some of them are just straight up like Jace's Mind Rack, or some of them are. Anyways,
Scott says we could do Overwatch and Scotch.
Ooh.
See how well you do Mystery Heroes when you drink.
I like that. That sounds fun. Maybe that's what we should do for my
Ski
birthday.
says it sounds like an Ivy League frat drink. Scotch, watermelon, and Mountain Dew.
And we'll make it good.
It's the
We don't have
when you
bad
make that, it's
drinks
going to be
here.
called Doc Argyle's Mountain Dew extract.
Thank you, Panda. This is awesome.
And the party mouse holding up the party in the mouse. That's some awesome handwriting. Who is that?
This one's Anjo Sarah. Anjo.
Anya, that's so cool. I love the handwriting.
Yeah. And it looks just,
Amazing.
It's a really good likeness. Looks just like me.
Steve. Thank you for everything. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome.
You have the most gorgeous handwriting ever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I can't handle it.
Is that written by hand? Because that's super good. I like this too. Awesome. Super awesome.
Got the crazy grin just right.
Yes.
And the eyes look a bit wild. It fits perfectly.
Yep, that's me.
Alright, next one is poison. Did you just skip poison like usual?
I haven't skipped any one yet. I can't skip.
You can't skip it if I call you on it?
I wasn't gonna. Potion of Arting from
Watching out for you, poison. That's how it goes. Happy birthday, Steve!
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, from Hanzo. Oh, the little dragon symbol on there's adorable.
Yeah.
It's so cute. I like the looseness to the dragon symbol you put on there. It's so nice. Steve,
and it looks
what happens when you drink a potion of Arting?
That's a good question.
Do
I see in 9 dimensions?
Or you wake up, on the floor of the studio in the morning with art on the walls, so you can't actually sell it, but it's like some of the most amazing work you've done.
That'd be awesome. I would totally go on a Potion of Arting bender.
Poison says it's totally just mounted.
Excellent. Thank you. That's awesome.
Astroxol.
Astroxol. Okay, Kat. We have to read this. Because it's horses with hands. What are the hands saying? Let's see. I don't remember. T. No, is that T?
H.
H.
That's
H. A. Is that hands? I'm bad at this. I haven't done this. That's B. J. B. I. X.
Nope.
No?
That's not X. X and R are mixed up. So that's R.
B. I. R.
Happy. So P.
P.
Looks like someone's P. Looks like he's P.
I'm looking at this one.
H-A-P.
Happy birthday. That took me far too long than it should have. I feel silly now.
P, you can tell because although usually I'd have P straight down, the 2 legs straight down, but that's how you tell P is because it looks like someone's P.
Awesome.
And it's got a Zim! Riding a horse. So there, Steve. I like that he's riding it backwards though.
Zim is not particularly savvy when it comes to horses, much like myself. That's why we relate. Also, we both want to conquer the world and kind of hate humans a lot of the time.
Astaroxo says, do you know how hard it is to look at your right hand and try to draw with your right hand?
Actually, yes.
Yeah, Steve has done it. He'll usually just take a picture then.
Yeah, that's what I do these days. Is I just take a picture, but...
This is from Quiet. Happy birthday, Steve. Thanks for helping me make that first step into drawing.
Oh, thank you.
He's poking up right up over the... She got to...
Adorable little
Quiet was playing. He got to draft Magic with us on Saturday. It was super fun. We drafted a Conspiracy 1, oddly enough.
Yeah.
A strange, random one. It was great.
Classic and good drafting.
Astaroxo said that the Zim was giving the fist because he wasn't happy.
Obey the fist! Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Quiet.
It is
And I
Diva
have-
shirt.
And I have Diva headphones.
I know.
That is
It's
awesome.
So cute.
That is super cute.
It's adorable. And the quick
This is
colors.
Battle
just
Ferrets, by the way.
The green and the pink. So nice. Oh, that's adorable.
Thank you. That's awesome.
All right, Keeson says he really has to go. We love you.
Bye, Keeson. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, the card is awesome. It's a little tiny lily holding. That's so great.
And it's the alternate version with the hooks and the bling.
It's the Steve Argyle original version.
Awesome. Thank you. That is super cool.
Uh-oh. That looks like Cat's BFF coming up.
Whoa.
I think it's her thing now, Steve. So this is from Cat's BFF. She always draws, especially because of poor Wes being killed and reincarnated and zombified so many times. She always draws ghosts with blood coming out of their eyes and a knife. It's her
And
thing
tattered
now.
wings.
Tattered
That
wings.
is a serious.
And is that a cute
angel.
little octopus down in the corner?
Yeah.
That's so cute. But she even had a special request. Steve did an altar at her request at Vegas. That was a
flamingo with a knife.
in
with
its beak.
Bleeding eyes.
Yes. So she even got a flamingo doing it.
Yes.
That was great. Was that on an Enigma Drake?
Yes.
Is that why it was a flamingo? Because he like standing. That's hilarious.
Because he's perched like a flamingo.
Yes, Cat's BFF is very dark. That's her theme. We love it. That's why we love her.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
As though he's so happy, even with the blood and the knife.
Well, he's probably murdering, and
That makes him happy.
that makes you happy. That's if murdering's your thing.
And these are the Cat's BFF's friends that she invited along. So they drew you pictures too. Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday,
Steve.
Steve. Oh, that's cool. It's a necromancer. She's got the skulls all around and the happy birth. All the A's are skulls. That's from May. P.S.
Awesome.
Usually I make it happy. What down in the bottom? You covered it up with the levels.
There. Usually I make happy
I usually make happy things.
things.
Well, we like your necromancer. She's very cute. And the skulls
She probably
are
is happy.
adorable.
She's got lots of skulls, and the skulls look happy.
They do. She brought them back. That's what necromancers do. Someone was Keith was saying, it's just someone who heals a little late.
Well, thank you, May. That is awesome. That's a cool necromancer design too. Like that.
That's a
It's kind of a
lily.
lily.
It's very lily, but I like the crown.
Yeah, the
Spiky crown.
yeah.
That is a lily. She's got the change, but I like the change to the crown.
Mm-hmm. That is cool.
Yep, Cat's BFF said it is Liliana. So that's why it's got all the dark and everything. You should do that. I like that crown. She did a wicked awesome job on the spikes on it. Makes her scarier, Steve.
Yeah. That might be how we do it from now on.
And this is, I believe, from another one of Cat's BFF's friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun. It's a giant castle.
There's all kinds of stuff
And you've
going
got
on.
Liliana there. Is that Chandra?
I think so.
Oh, it's
Looks
got
like a
cape.
chainmail
Yeah.
cape.
And
a
it's got a
fireball.
lily and the awesome castle and the trees and everything. And I'm not going to read the PS because it's not true. I don't agree
Agreed.
with
This
it.
is great.
This
is awesome.
Great art. And you filled the whole page. I can't do that. I have the hardest time making like a whole picture. I just draw a person and not the background. And this is great because it's got like the whole background and it's completely filled. I love it. I like how they integrated the happy and the birthday into the background. As Keith put it, art makes life better.
Art makes life better.
The only way to get better at art is by continually doing art. That's why we do it every time. So, we are happy to see anyone art.
That is awesome.
Especially when you're wishing someone a happy birthday. We super appreciate it. Because it means you were thinking of a person.
Yeah, it makes me super happy. Thank you, Rooster. Awesome.
All right. This one, I believe, is another. So, Kat's BFF has 3 friends they're also on. And so these are the May, Rooster, and the last friend.
Haha! Lapalops!
It's a minion! Oh my gosh, and it's even wearing its little aviator hat and goggles, and it's little...
It's Pinkle Cheeks von Mouthbottom.
Yes, saying happy birthday, Steve.
That is awesome.
He's flying in on the balloons for you. That's adorable.
He's super cute.
Even though he has teeny tiny wings, he can still fly with the balloons.
And he's so happy. He's like ecstatically happy. As he's flying. Also, that looks... He's like way up there. Is this Earth?
Oh gosh, it is.
He's way up.
Wow.
He'll need to swap his aviator goggles for a space
helmet if he gets much farther.
That is awesome.
So that was from Grace.
Thank you, Grace. That is awesome. Super cool.
I love the planet off in the corner. That's amazing.
Those are some powerful balloons.
Oh, this is adorable. This is Business Wolf. Says, I'm between commission work and doing laundry, but I wanted to do this.
Oh, thank you.
It's Party Mouth.
It is.
I know it's really weird and funny, but I love how the hat is like floating back, like slightly off. It like gives more dynamicism to it.
Yeah.
Again,
it's almost like an exclamation point.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I make noises when I art and describe art, because yeah, and so I think it's an exclamation point. Yeah, Party Mouse.
That is super cool.
And he's so happy. Blowing on the little horn.
And now we make party.
Oh, Jonathan Lau put a little cute mouse in the chat. So cute. I was kind of hiding the chat from you because we kept telling people to do birthday scoodles. Did you see it? Did I ruin the surprise?
No, I don't really.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for helping me be sneaky.
Thank you.
And give Steve birthday wishes. His birthday always sneaks up on me every year. And like I just turn around and the next day is suddenly his birthday. And so it always does it to me. And so I was happy I thought of it at the right amount of time to get Steve birthday cards.
And they are awesome. I love them. Thank you guys so much. You're the best.
And Asteroxo, basically, Cat's BFF and all of her friends are all at a sleepover. And so they wrote you birthday cards from that. That's all, May and Grace and Rooster and Cat's BFF. Thank you guys for drawing. Thanks for arting. Continue to art. Everybody, thank you for the birthday wishes.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are the best.
And we will make sure Steve has an awesome birthday this weekend. And don't forget, art makes life better.
Art makes life better.
So continue to art all the time, whatever level you're at and however old you are. There's a reason that there's been a resurgence in adult coloring books. It's because they're trying to bring that creativity back to people that you just are told that it's something that you don't do anymore and you stop doing when you're 12. And it's so good for your brain that they've seen that resurgence in the coloring books and everything like that, because art makes life better.
Mm-hmm.
So keep it up, people. You guys are the bestest buddies ever. Thanks for spending your Tuesday night with us. We will not be here next week, just to remind you guys, because Steve will be getting ready for GP Brazil. Mm-hmm. We hope to be back the week after, but don't make any promises if Steve is completely burnt out from flying in the morning of a GP and flying out the night it ends, and that might completely burn him.
Or I might just sleep from the time I get home until Sketch and Scotch, and then I'll probably be fine.
Oh, they need a squam work, Steve.
Squam work, okay.
You're not getting out of it. By the way, happy birthday, you didn't have to do a scoodle.
Much appreciated. Scoodles are fun, though.
We were trying to figure out how to give you a cue that would make you draw your own birthday card.
Oh.
But I couldn't think of a way to do it.
That is tricky. That is tricky. Not that I'm much of a sleuth or that clever in the first place, so you can trick me pretty easy.
I couldn't think of a good cue to do it.
Squam work.
Zombie Steve, sleep Steve.
Zombies, maybe.
Zombie Steve. Or Zombie Wes. Or Zombie Scott.
Let's start with the art focus, because that I can think of. Since we talked about relative color. That's not how you spell relative. Relative. I'm bad at this. Photoshop doesn't have a spell check. Don't you judge me. Relative color, and let's do a...
People are saying something about Brazil, flamingos, exotic watermelon.
Exotic fruit.
That's hard, because if you're going to do relative color...
That does make it a little bit tricky. So the relative color will have mostly to do with the environment you're putting it in. So,
well, but I think that's actually really smart. So your cue that something is a watermelon is that it's green with darker green stripes. So a relative color, if you could make it work, would be maybe to have a blue watermelon with dark blue stripes, but make it still read as a watermelon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so exotic fruit is crazy like that too.
Exotic fruit.
How's
that? Fruit. You can go crazy with it if you want.
The weirdest topic ever. As we always say, you take the topic and run with it.
Yes.
However you like. So Scott says, what is relative color?
Well, it's what we were talking about for most of the episode. It's the if you take, like, you guys have seen the things where they'll take like a gray, 50% gray thing, and they'll say, what color is this? And then they'll show you a picture, and in the picture it looks like a bright orange or a bright blue. You remember that stupid thing with the blue, black / white gold dress? Relative color is that when you have one color next to another color, it appears like this looks pretty gray inside of this red, but it's because the red is just like burning your face off red. And if you put something, well, we probably had to change it, or we're trying to get Kat to bed because she has to get up early. So
You're fine.
um,
It's the idea, like, if you're drawing a person and it's at night under a moonlight, their skin isn't going to be peach color. It's
Yes.
going to be blue. And then maybe they'll have a side light coming in from the inside that makes the highlight yellow. But their skin will in no way be peach color, like you think skin to be. And so play with that. Like I said, make a watermelon. The key to a watermelon is green, but do enough relative color to make a different color watermelon work.
So if you go back and watch some of the stuff in the episode, relative color is taking, as opposed to absolute color. Like when we talk about the whites of the eye, it's not, if you just use absolute white, it's rarely going to work. When we talked about clouds, perfect white is usually not the way it's going to be. So relative color is the color and its relationship with the light sources. So like Kat was saying, if you had like a night scene, you got this blue, the skin would be relatively warmer and lighter than the dark blue sky. So you'd say, well, let's see, we want lighter, we want warmer, and so you can move it pretty much either direction.
See that. Your face is covered.
Oh, right, you can't see my color slider that I'm using all the time. I really do use it all the time. Half of the episode, you're probably like, what is just going on over there? So you're moving things relative to where they started. So instead of saying, well, I'm going to have skin color, and here's the skin color, so here's my person, that's not going to look like a night scene.
And it's not going to look like a real good, it's going to look like a scarred person.
So instead, you'd say, well, I want it to be lighter and less blue, because they're less blue. Maybe a little bit warmer, and you can go like either direction with that. And then
and like that hair right there is actually dark purple. But how it's reading is, I think she's probably a brunette. It's reading as if she's got brown hair.
Yeah, and you got the context of the moon and everything, and you can still say, well, that's still reading as purple, so maybe we move it a little warmer, a little less saturated, a little lighter. Let's look at a little bit more like skin, even though it's very much a purple gray. And you gray in this context, if you went straight to gray, it would
the
actually
interesting on this
warmer.
thing is, and it's good he moved his little so you can see his color palette, is seeing the actual colors he's picking and how it looks relative to everything, and how it almost looks like he's applying red to it, even though it's actually a purple.
Yeah, I should have moved that, because the whole episode I was doing stuff over here in the color slider. And I realized that you guys couldn't see any of that.
But
so relative color is practicing trying to determine what color it should be on the page, on the palette, in the piece, rather than an absolute color like an apple is red and you just go with just red. So it can be a study where you like a still life of a fruit, but you use a warm light on one side and a cool light on the other side, and you see how an orange, which is definitively orange, its absolute color's very orange, how that changes the colors that it actually reflects back to you. If you put a cold bluish light on one side of an orange, what color are you really getting back? If you paint an orange in moonlight, what color is it really?
And I said it before, but if you need some help with this, and I have a huge problem with this, so I'm speaking of a place of learning, not from a place of authority. But if you're having a problem figuring out, set up a little photo shoot, like I said before, where maybe you have a blue gel or you put it out at night, or take a picture where you just have a light blue, like in the dark with your camera phone, and put it onto a computer, and then use a color picker to see what those actual colors are, those relative colors are.
Mm-hmm.
Or find a picture online that has very extreme colors, and then actually go and pull specific colors with the color picker to see what the true colors on it are. If you guys remember, Steve, 3 or 4 episodes again, was talking through a bunch of his favorite artists and cruising through those. And if you remember the pirate chick with those insanely bright colors.
Martin Nile.
And if you remember that picture, none of those colors were
or what you
realistic. But that was a wonderful example of relative color, because she looked like an awesome pirate chick. But those colors were all relative colors. So, anyway, hopefully that helps. Again, not going to be here next week. Hopefully we're here in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Have a safe time in Brazil, Steve, even if I don't come with you. And have a happy birthday.
I got my shots, so hopefully I won't come back with yellow fever.
And hopefully you won't get it before. We love you guys. Take care.
Thanks again. You guys are awesome. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Yep. Bye-bye.